Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure to like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Joe Biden hitting new lows out here. Approval rating was in the 60s back in the spring, at least according to the Election Mafia. And then it went down to the 50s. In the summer it went down to the 40s. And it has entered the 30s. Joe Biden is absolutely cratering as we speak. And the polls are now showing it to be a bloodbath for Democrats in the midterm elections. It appears that they're on track to have massive losses that could end up being 1994/2010 standards. And what we're seeing is just amazing, this collapse of Biden, and will he even be able to recover? It sure as hell doesn't look like it. So we're going to get into this and really analyze the state of the country here and look and explain to you guys why it seems as if Republicans are headed for massive gains. But first, I have to tell you guys about my friends over at Noble Gold. Now, not everyone is interested in precious metals, IRAs, or 401k rollovers, because some people are just happy putting their life savings on the stock market, or they're launching themselves into property investment, or they like the idea of cryptos or leveraged investments. So what could possibly go wrong with that? With the supply chain issues, inflation on the way, and unemployment climbing, isn't it all a bit risky? And don't even get us started on the $25 trillion of debt. So if you've been thinking about investing safer so you can retire more comfortably and sleep at night, it might be time to talk to Noble Gold about the tax advantages and other pluses of those precious metal IRAs. Of course, you might just love uncertainty, but if you don't, this month, Noble Gold are giving away a free America the Beautiful solid silver 5-ounce coin with any qualifying IRA you start. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, noblegoldinvestments.com. So this poll had Biden's job approval rating at 38. He's down 21 points net. Kamala Harris was even worse. She can't even crack 30%. Kamala Harris, who honestly I still give around a 50% chance of her being the nominee in 2024 for the Democrats. But honestly, when it comes to somebody like Biden, they might just have to trot him out again because he's the only one who can win that they have. Who else do they have that can win? Kamala Harris would get decimated. I mean, these numbers are awful. And even Biden would likely get decimated in 2024. So we see this poll, and also Emerson has a poll. Biden is down in Emerson by 9 points. He was up by 10 points earlier in the year. Now he's down by 9. This one has him at 41. A lot better for him than the USA Today poll. But even then, we see a Hispanic approval rating dropping to just 50%. White approval rating 38%, and he's losing to Donald Trump in the popular vote. Again, Emerson was pretty accurate in 2020, was pretty accurate in 2018, not bad in 2016 from what I can tell. So the bottom line is the more accurate polls within the Election Mafia have Biden cratering. He's looking awful. And he's not going to recover from this very easy. He's really not. I mean, what is he going to have legislatively going for him? He's signing another package that's sort of an infrastructure bill that just 11% of that goes to actual infrastructure. I mean, that's not going to save him. That's damage control at best. And even then, if he, bumps up a couple of points temporarily, it's going to be awful for him in the long run. So it's just not a good look. But what we do know is that 538 earlier in the year was saying that the best tool for predicting midterm elections doesn't show a Republican wave, which is ridiculous, by the way. Absolutely ridiculous that they would write this article over a year out of the election saying that it's polls that are the best indicator, yet polls a year out of the election typically are not the most accurate. Democrats had a sizable lead throughout much of 2009 in the 2010 generic ballot, and they ended up having a worse year than 1994. So that kind of tells you a lot about their most important indicator. Because, yeah, I mean, going up to Election Day, typically the polls on Election Day, on the midterms, historically have not been awful, especially the nationwide polls, right? But looking at this and seeing what we have here, it's pretty obvious that this article is very misleading and disingenuous. But let's talk about those polls, because Republicans had been struggling in them a little bit, but not too much. I mean, there were some polls that had them leading. There were some polls that had them down. I mean, the generic ballot was roughly within the margin of error. I mean, you remove the polling error that usually benefits Democrats, it's pretty much neck and neck. It's pretty much even. And even if you have a generic ballot that is D+1, Republicans still likely are going to take back the House and end up with 52 plus Senate seats, obviously. But I think we're on track for a much wider wave than that. And the USA Today poll shows Republicans are up by 8 in this poll right here, which is a wider margin than they won the generic ballot by in 2010 and 1994. It rivals the Democrats' advantage in the 2018 midterms and probably is going to net them a lot more seats too, because keep in mind, the House, they had 212 seats with a generic ballot that was D+3 in the 2020 election. If it's R+8, you talk about all these seats here. You see an 11-point swing. All these seats the Democrats were expected to win by a narrow margin that they actually ended up winning are going to go directly to them. A lot of these seats as well, Democrats expected to win easily. You talk about seats like Arizona's 2nd, California's 3rd. These seats are all in play now. Any seat that was roughly within 10 is now in play, which really tells us that Republicans are on pace for a 40 or 50 seat midterm at this rate. And we know this, by the way. It was not just this poll. The Emerson poll I was mentioning earlier showed that not only has Biden's approval dropped significantly, if you look and see where it talks about the generic ballot, it says when voters were asked if they would vote for the Democratic or Republican congressional candidate today, 49% said they would vote for the Republican, 42% would say they would vote for the Democrat, 9% are undecided. A lot of the undecided voters, by the way, are not really too favorable of Joe Biden, which really means that either they may be staying home or they may be breaking for the Republicans, and you could have a wave larger than 7%. But Americans are fed up. Have you been to the grocery store lately? Have you gotten gas lately? Look at the prices. They're out of control. We have a crisis at our southern border. People are pouring in at rates we've never seen before because of Biden's own incompetency. Look at what happened overseas, leaving troops behind in Afghanistan, symbolic of the weak leadership of Joe Biden. And now that's beginning to show, and voters are upset. Voters are fed up. You look at what happened in Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, massive swings in the Republican column on an off-year election. And demography is going to become very favorable in 2022 when it comes to things like educational demography. And I'm going to explain why, because a lot of Democrats were saying, well, non-college educated white voters won't turn out, so the midterms are going to be easy for Democrats. Really? Really? You think so? We're going to have to do a video on that next. But in the meantime, it just is very telling that Colorado's Senate race is now in play if Cory Gardner decides to run. This is where we're at right now. So we went from Democrats being confident that they may even gain seats in the Senate earlier in the year. Now even some Democrats are admitting 54 Senate seats is inevitable for Republicans. And honestly, 55 might happen. And we're going to have to see what happens. But if you look at these seat gains in the House historically, the last thing I want to show you guys in this video, it seems as if the average seat gain is around 26, but you look at the first term seat gain usually. Obviously, there's exceptions because Bush in 2002, but if you look at whether if it was Clinton's first term in 1994, or if it was Reagan's first term in 1992, or if it was Obama's first term in 2010, or Trump's first term in 2018, the midterms typically are brutal, the most brutal in the first term, and Biden's approval rating historically awful for presidents so far, and it does not seem like that course is going to be corrected anytime soon. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Please like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.